Aaron and I filmed a video earlier today about recent issues regarding racial inequality in America. When we finished the video, we sent it to a few people to get their feedback. Upon receiving their feedback and having some good conversations, we realized that the video was incomplete. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, we will have a few folks join us that will add some clarity, some day-to-day examples of what they experience, and some suggestions of how we as a society can move forward in a meaningful way. So Aaron and I are going to take on a topic today that I think needs to be addressed. It's a very difficult topic. And I'm going to start off reflecting a little bit on where I come from and what this whole last week has made me think of. I reflect back to 9/11. I was a young father. My wife and I had a 9-month-old daughter. And 9/11 hit, the attack on the World Trade Center, and really in many respects, the attack on the world and on America as a whole. And I remember thinking, what a different world we lived in and how overnight things had changed, and that my life as a father and raising a daughter in this society, things had just changed. It was easily the scariest time of my life up to that point. And then just a few months ago, we learned this new world, COVID or coronavirus. Again, another really scary time in our lives. At the very beginning, we all felt like this was going to be a blip on the radar. It would pass when it got warmer. We would find an antidote. We're all going to be fine. And in many respects, most of us are fine. We've learned to live wearing masks. We've learned to eat at restaurants differently, and we've just, in general, we have adapted to life. There is, as others have said, another pandemic that we're dealing with in racism that unfortunately has gone on for hundreds of years, and it needs to stop. I have a lot of really raw emotions about this, but we are at a point in society where we need to address this. We need to address it head on. We have an obligation, regardless of the color of our skin, regardless of our religion, that we need to stop and we need to address this. And this needs to be a priority for us across the world and in America. Aaron, super raw emotions for you, I'm sure as well. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about 9/11, you talk about COVID. I think it's a really interesting comparison for me. And it's something that really hits home because I think about those things and I think about what made them so scary for me is that both of those were examples of realizing that you or someone you love could be hurt or killed without doing anything wrong, just randomly. And I think about what it must be like if you are a person of color in this country who has to have that reminder every 3 months, every 6 months, every 2 months. I don't even know what our regularity is right up until now, but I think about being in that position where you're having that 9/11 moment, that COVID moment with that kind of regularity and how that must impact you. What sort of state that must put you in emotionally, and it's hard to comprehend, and I wouldn't even begin to try. But to me, that is what these moments, and I would love to say that this is a watershed moment, but it feels like we've had so many. That's what these moments really drive home for me, and it's heartbreaking that it takes this kind of event, somebody being killed, for us to have this kind of introspection. But I think it also brings up again and again the question of what do we do? I mean, I think that you are correct in and there would be many Americans that would agree with you that yeah, we have to stop this. But we've been saying that for a long time. A lot of people have been saying that for a long time, and we've been watching news headlines like this for a long time. And it does bring with it a lot of questions about what to do. And from our perspective, it's even harder because we have to go into acknowledging that we don't have answers, but we don't have the excuse not to act when we see an opportunity to help. So I guess I'll sort of put that back to you. That's sort of my high level. I wish I had something more insightful, but that's kind of where I stand right now. It's that realization of what we're facing, and the fact that it doesn't have a discrete end. We were talking again about COVID. I mean, we're all putting efforts towards flattening the curve. Lots of people are, they're wearing masks and stuff like this. But at the end of the day, we all think that COVID's going to be something that we're going to have under control in a couple of years. I don't think there are many people watching this video who, if asked honestly, can say we think we're going to have racism in America under control in a couple of years or even a couple of decades, which is, again, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, this is really an opportunity for us to reflect on not just what happened last Monday, but what's happened for literally hundreds of years. And it's time for us to step up and to step forward and be a part of the change and not sit on the sidelines and hope that other folks are going to take ownership of this and fix this problem, because this problem is bigger than them. It's bigger than us, and it needs to be solved. I know for myself, I had a very difficult weekend explaining this to my kids, who just cannot rationalize this. The questions of why the color of someone's skin matters. I don't want to explain this to my kids again. And I can tell you that as active as I have not been active enough. I think that probably goes for you as well, Aaron. But I will echo your point in that we have, I don't know, like Aaron, I don't know what that next right step is and what we need to be doing as a society to step forward in a meaningful way that's really going to bring change. So with the utmost of question marks, we're going to ask for advice. What are those things that we can be doing? What are those things that we can be doing at home? What are those things that we can be doing in the workplace? What are those things that we can be doing at church and at the grocery store? So we're not going to end the way that we normally end. We're just going to end and ask for help. So make some comments, give us some feedback. There are other people watching this that may not comment, but need the comments just like we do to know what that next step is. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your comments.